This morning, the Supreme Court avoided what would have been a very high-profile case on its docket for next year, which of course is an election year session of the court. The justices were asked to consider an appeal from bakers in Oregon who refused on religious grounds to bake a cake for a lesbian couple's wedding. The Supreme Court had a similar case last year and did not resolve the big question at the heart of that case, essentially that pits the rights of LGBT people against the religious rights of merchants who are asked to serve those people for the purpose of their wedding. So the court again decided not to take that case today. Instead, it ordered a court in Oregon, which first ruled in the case, to take another look at it, which means that it probably won't be back at the court before next year. It's possible the issue could return to the court earlier than that in a case involving a florist in Washington, but that too might not come until the fall, and even if it comes then, it might not be considered and scheduled in time for next term. In fact, if the court decides it wants to decide this issue, it might wait actually until after the 2020 presidential election. There are three major cases yet to be resolved by the court, probably before the end of next week. Two of them involve the distribution of political power in this country over the next decade. One of those involves what's called partisan gerrymandering, where one party controls the redistricting process and it tries to draw as many political districts as possible to benefit it at the expense of the other party. The other case involves whether there should be a citizenship question on the 2020 census. The Trump administration is seeking to add that question. Democratic challengers and civil rights groups around the country have objected to that. Both those cases are extremely important to the accumulation and distribution of political power, because the census figures are used to allocate seats among the states in the Congress, and they also form the basis for redrawing state legislatures and even local elected bodies around the country. In addition, the census, the population distribution among the states helps determine the allocation of billions of dollars in federal money every year. So those are both very closely watched cases. In addition, there's a case out of Bladensburg, Maryland, which is a Washington suburb, and a challenge over whether a 40-foot war memorial in the shape of a cross can remain on public land. The court, while there have been several 5-4 decisions, they've not always been the typical 5 conservatives and 4 liberals. There have been some where a conservative justice crosses over, and there's also been some with unusual alignments of the justices. But in the biggest cases that are still to come, cases involving partisan gerrymandering, citizenship question on the census, and even a 40-foot war memorial cross in Bladensburg, Maryland, we might expect more ideologically divided court when those cases are decided.